There are things that restorers need to do on every single job. And I need to have a record of where my moisture is. I have to have a record of where my equipment is and what day it's there. I've got to have some documentation that shows what I did yesterday so the people who show up today know what needs to be done. If they watch me running a tape measure across the floor and then watch my competitor walk in and they come out with, here's my dimensioning, and they can quickly throw in some air movers and dehumidifiers, doing it a fraction of the time, looking more professional. So one of my things from technology is, can I speed cycle time, take steps out of process? So we're doing all of that and getting a better product. It's not a complex process. It's relatively simple. So when I have a workforce that is an average of 22 years old and they understand how to use the technology we're putting in their hands. And so it's going to help us get its dependable, predictable results.
One of the topics I always say is if you can reduce the people involved in any given process, you are reducing the room for error and you're reducing the cost.
As one of my mentors in the industry had said, make it easier to do right than it is to do wrong, and then you'll get the right results very consistently.
One of the elements that drove me coming from a restoration company, I always said, I'm lacking visibility on what is actually the kind of in terms quality of the job. That's why we started from, okay, what's the kind of foundation? It's the measurements, it's the floor plan, it's the square footage, because that was really one indicator where I thought it's important. Like, I know how much I spend on average kind of like per square footage, but then also how much I can actually accomplish per day. Okay. So giving some sense and some sizing to this tells me about the complexity, tells me about kind of how many people are likely going to be involved, how many overhead do I need to have in terms of project management. And this really always was more beneficial to me rather than, okay, it's a job and it has $1 amount, because you just have one, I think, simplistic quality. For me, it was the square footage, which tells you, okay, it's a small but complex job or it's a big job that can get lost, right? And that was that one element which then helped me, okay, where do I need to look at? Because in a complex job, more things can go wrong than in an easy job, but they could be the same size, right?
Okay, here's a couple of things that is one of the things I really like about what magicplan is doing is there are things that restorers need to do on every single job, regardless if I'm in a program or not. I need to have a dimension of what I've done. I need to have a record of where my moisture is. I have to have a record of where my equipment is and what day it's there. I've got to have some documentation that shows what I did yesterday so the people who show up today know what needs to be done. I can take technology that I own. I can take a cell phone, which every employee has. I can take an application such as magicplan, and I can go walk through a job site, and I can quickly get that information that I'm getting anyhow. And I'm doing it in an unsophisticated way, and it wasn't as accurate. You know, say, hey, maybe magicplan is only 90. You give me the number. It's 99.1% accurate on the drawings, something like that. What's my hand dimensioning? Nowhere near that. And did I get an angled wall? Do I measure halfway through the doorway? Do I measure, where do I measure? And what does it look like? And I think that it's also the presentation of my consumer. If they watch me running a tape measure across the floor and then watch my competitor walk in and they come out with, here's my dimensioning, and they can quickly throw in some air movers and dehumidifiers, doing it a fraction of the time, looking more professional. And then the insurance companies are getting a consistent product. Consistent because I can use that same dimension from the day that I do my mitigation to the day I'm doing my reconstruction to the day I'm doing my certificate of satisfaction. It's all going to look the same, and it's going to take steps out of process. And so one of my things from technology is, can I speed cycle time, take steps out of process? So we're doing all of that and getting a better product, and it's lowering our cost on that. And so what we're doing is already looking and saying, okay, if we're going to be getting paid less potentially in the future for whatever reason, we're actually now starting to save steps out of this process, speed things along, and reduce my costs on the upfront. And then I also look at complexity. And when I come back to the thing I like about what you're doing, it's not a complex process. It's relatively simple. So when I have a workforce that is an average of 22 years old, and they don't, they're just generally a blue collar workforce that's 22 years old. They understand how to use the technology we're putting in their hands, and so it's going to help us get its dependable, predictable results. And as one of my mentors in the industry had said, make it easier to do right than it is to do wrong, and then you'll get the right results very consistently.
Yeah, yeah. I want to kind of reflect on two elements here. One is the accuracy. So I think, I mean, that is a topic that I get confronted with often, and can kind of lead to endless discussions. But I want to share my view a little bit on it,
Okay,
because, and then
please.
we can discuss. I mean, I would say the measurements that we did is like we are anywhere, I would say 97% and up in terms of accuracy.
Okay,
Okay, but to me, that's again reflective. Okay, what is the overall job size? Because suddenly that 97% becomes less important if the overall job site is less than 10,000. I mean, the
right.
overhead is much more important than the last percentage of accuracy on the job, right? Because just the operational costs of running that job, it's easy to lose 300 bucks,
Yes.
which would be your reflective of 1 2 3%. So I would say kind of like total cost of ownership is something that we use in other terms, but total cost of these operations is really important to factor in for that accuracy discussions. And then on the other end, I mean, if accuracy is your main goal, there's always the option to kind of inc- increase the accuracy by including a Bluetooth measure, and then you
Yep.
are as accurate as you've been in the past, right? Because it's still down to the human who
Yeah.
needs to be able to work with the tools, because you can be totally inaccurate with the kind of like most precise measuring device.
Yep.
So that is one discussion, kind of like total cost of operations versus accuracy of one element of that journey. And that's not to say that that is important. It's just like, as you say, what's your overall strategy? Like, don't
Yep.
miss the big picture, right? You're
Yep.
trying to run a efficient operation. You're not trying to run the most accurate measuring process. In my mind, I think
Right.
that is still something that you just need to make sure how easy, how, yeah,
Yep.
how well it suits your process. And then what you also tapped on, what I'd like to stress, is kind of in front of the consumer. What is my goal? I think my goal is bringing trust to the conversation with the consumer. And I think
Hmm.
there is always this understanding of lack of transparency. And I think one element, if it's happening on site in real time with the
Mm.
consumer present, or like if you're in a position
Yeah.
to talk about the stuff in a way that is easy to read by the consumer as well, that is just that initial trust that you can build, that I think helps throughout the project. So those are
Absolutely.
two areas where it just can explain our thinking, and whether you buy into this or not, it's up to you. But that's
Hmm.
two of the elements which you covered there, which I think
Yeah,
are important to understand what your priorities are.
I agree. And we're not ordering materials off of this. So 97%. Now, if you've ever seen a hand drawn sheet from a technician in the field on a piece of graph paper, or worse yet, on the backside of a piece of just a piece of printer paper, they don't. They're not 97% accurate. So I think that anywhere we get more professional results in a more timely manner that are consistently and predictable. We know what it's going to look like. We know what's coming into it. And as long as we're not ordering material off of it, it's going to be brilliant.
I mean, even then, if you order paint and flooring, you always
Yes,
have more than 3% waste.
exactly.
I think. I mean, it's not less correct than anything that is a typical, usual
Yeah. No.
workflow. And then again, it's just the overall total cost of operations rather than
Yep.
one individual step. Which I think is
Yeah.
important to keep in mind. How much does it need you to then kind of like fill the
Exactly.
order, whatnot? This passing on information between different systems. I mean, one of the topics I always say is like, if you can reduce the people involved in any given process, you are reducing the room for error, right? And you're
Yes.
reducing the cost. So that is
Yes.
another element where we say, hey, try to kind of make one individual as kind of powerful as possible in terms of how much they can own from that part of the operations, because yeah, whenever you pass along information, there is room for error and there is room for misunderstanding.
Absolutely.